I am ready whenever you are.
I'm ready.
All right. And to confirm, this is lesson 6 of the emotional body.
Greetings, brothers and sisters.
Good evening.
How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm feeling great. How are you?
We are well.
Good.
So tonight we begin lesson 6. There will be 2 parts. Part 1 will be on everything you have now is exactly what you have when you liberate. The only difference is how you perceive it. We have set up enough of a framework to begin to pick pieces out of the ashes, tools that is part of your mind, part of what God created, the nature of what you are. And so we wish to show you these aspects of self and what they are currently doing as you understand them. But when you use the tool correctly, what you can apply it for. Part 2 will be on fear. Ooh, an important topic. So, let us begin. For the first part, we do not wish to give a lecture. So we're going to personalize it and use you as a conversational piece.
I am honored.
So let us begin. You have reached a point and state within your mind where you said that no matter what you do, things repeat.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how you try to stop it, the obsession continues.
Mm-hmm.
If you get rid of one focus, it pops up somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Are we correct with that assessment?
Yeah, and I think I went a step further in saying it's probably not that it just happens to repeat itself. It's most likely it's always been there. I'm just noticing it now.
Correct. So the question we have for you is, do you understand why you are obsessed? What the purpose and intent of it is?
What I have noticed, and I'm going off of yeah, fuck it, no mind. Yes. What I've noticed is that it's like, so it goes back to that discussion about the agreement that is made of I am not good enough. Shaving a haircut 2 bits and watching it over and over again and watching and consciously responding 2 bits to that good enough. And it's interesting because now I see a lot of the behaviors are painted with that agreement of not good enough. Everything from I better set it up this way or he will be upset at me because it has to be good enough for him, as far as like setting up the chairs or setting up the tables and whatnot. Every action I do is painted with that belief of not good enough. It has to be good. It has to be better so that I am not reprimanded. And it's always seems to be feeding off that anticipation of, am I going to get approval or am I going to get reprimanded?
So if we hear you correctly, what you are saying is that the obsession doesn't actually require anyone to be present.
No, I'm like watching myself paint the situation in front of me.
Okay. And now, we wish to boil that down. This is not something you're expected to grasp right away, but giving it your observation, you will understand a key to your universe and how to unlock yourself from the chains that bind you. And in this, we're going to use aspects of previous meetings to use them to tie it together for you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so the focus is still on the thoughts and emotions and reacting to them.
Mm-hmm.
The waves start to kick up, and Mansour goes into action to stabilize the boat. And while he may have become a master at learning how to stabilize the boat, you're still at the whim of the waves and have not come to the point of perception of what's causing the water to stir. What is throwing the rocks that disturbs the water? So now we boil it down. The essence of shaving a haircut to bits for you in this particular model is based upon approval, obsession with others. We have said that when you come in, you learn to become paranoid, constantly hyper aware, we believe the word we used, to anticipate your actions to gain approval. Approval for what?
A connection with others.
And there it is. What has been boiling the water? The issue is not whether or not you are worthy. Behind whether or not you are worthy is fear. Fear of what? Fear of loss of connection. Because when that occurs, it tears down your mask, translating that into your plane of existence. Reality falters. Do you see it?
It's funny, it's like you're tapping into it, and I was going to bring up, I go to the pen as a defense. I hide behind the pen. So no, I'm not making the connection. Fear of a loss of connection.
Correct. Everything you spoke of that is mid-water and top water, we go back to the example of the boiling pot.
What is the stovetop? What is the stovetop? And
this comes into connection. And understand, now we shift through the ashes. That which you have learned, in a sense, to despise. That you can't stop the reactions. You can't stop feeling that way. You can't stop it from arising again and again and again. It doesn't matter if you deal with this situation. A new one will arise simply going for a carton of milk. Should you have bought this item? Maybe I should have gotten flowers. Maybe he needed chocolate. Yes, we are prying when you go to the grocery store. But we bring it up here not to embarrass you, but to heal, an opportunity to to heal. And so you were fine when you left the house. You just got done dealing with the email, and what did that mean? Now we go shopping. And isn't it amazing how much guilt and shame can come from just a trip to the supermarket with your mind?
Mm-hmm.
How does this keep occurring, and how do I stop it? And no matter what you do, you squish it down to one area and it rises someplace else. You squish that down and it rises someplace else. And we have said this is not what life was meant to be. But all of those are the reactions. Give attention to the cause, the obsession behind the obsession. You don't have an issue of fear, guilt, and shame, and worthlessness. Let us repeat that. You do not have an issue with shame, guilt, and worthlessness, and fear. Those are the thoughts and emotions doing their job, giving construct to something. A construct, that which in your mind is very real. Look past it. Because beneath it is the obsession behind the obsession. And what are you obsessed about? Being connected. It is not a question of connection. It's a question of the motive and way in which you do it. So what would happen if you tore out the foundation and rethought your idea of connection to people, places, and things in a way that actually fed you, in a way that actually grounded you, in a way that actually made you present? And for all of the idiosyncrasies that you call your normal mind, it doesn't matter. It will never be right. It will never be fixed. It will never be a problem solved. My issue is connection. And out of the ashes, we pull the main obsession. The obsession over connection. You can't control it. You can't help yourself. It is the same as the way that you breathe. You don't think about it. You just do it. Because you didn't create it. What created you created it. It is part of who and what you are. Now, we compare. You, the self-imposed human, constantly obsessed with connection. Talk, 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 do, 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 do. Everything you do, all the lists, is an effort to get a better self, to be more approved, whether by you or other people. All your actions that you do in society is based on approval, which you misunderstand for connection. Because this is the vibrational frequency that you were taught in. If the Goo Goo Gaga baby does something that is approved, it gets accolades. But if it picks up a toy and throws it in a mirror and breaks it, no one's clapping suddenly. If the baby is screaming for something, it's no longer a fun time. But if the baby smiles, everyone smiles back and gives attention. You have mistaken connection for approval. And fear, which we'll go into the second part, stems in. Love or fear, those are your two choices. And here we come into this far into the meeting, after how many, to get to the foundation to firmly stand upon and say, love is connection, and through that you expand. It goes through you. You extend it. Fear is still connection, but misperceived. You don't understand the gift God gave you, and you don't understand its purpose. And through what you call Mansour Dragon's Bane Majir, you have come to despise it. It causes you harm. You hate your brothers and sisters. And though those may be strong words, but what energy do you project at them? Approval? Or more like a sneer? Being honest, not what you say, but the energy within when you see them around you. And yes, you have worked on this. Yes, you've become more open-minded. And yes, you remind yourself that they are your brothers and sisters. And still that energy pervades, does it not?
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to try to stop it from happening at all. The root. And the root is your connection and how you do it. We say all the time, it doesn't matter, because you will always be, and eventually you will get it. Get what? Here we are. We are also obsessed with connection, are we not? We speak on it often.
Mm-hmm.
We channel through and give lectures on it. Connect, 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 connect. You do as well, but you teach it in a different way. What if, Mansour Dragon's Bane Majir, that which you have disdain for is the exact same thing that we have? The only difference is how we perceive its use. Do you see it?
No, I mean, other than I don't see it, because what I'm seeing and I can't unsee is the constant relationship of take, 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 take. So I don't know if I've seen I don't know if I've genuinely experienced connection, not for the sake of taking energy.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking? Because I haven't. The thing is, all I see is energy dynamics of how can I take more energy from you.
And you would. Because that, as we have said, is what your world is built upon. But we're not talking about the actions. We're talking about the cause. Everything is built about approval. Your mannequin is built for that. The mask you wear is built for that. You lie to each other to polish it up because you want to impress for approval. Because through approval, you believe is a moment of connection. The issue is not the methods. The issue is your confusion of what connection is. And whether you like it or not, you will always try to connect. It is in our nature. So how do we, the spirit, use connection and generate love flow through? That we bless each other with it, not just ourselves.
May I share something? I won't read the whole thing, but I think it's important.
We want to pause you. Let us finish our statement.
Okay.
So, for example, the parable of the chair. And it is presented. And everyone involved, spirit, our son, the higher self, the spiritual mind, whatever you want to call it, was blessed through the event. That is not the way your world works. You strive to make sure you get the blessing. Or if you're interacting with someone, that they get the upper hand of what they want of the blessing. You can have the leftovers. It is about me. And why? Why take? Why is your world built upon energy stealing? And the answer is, the way in which you use connection doesn't actually feed you. It doesn't fill you up. You have moments, if approval is done, of feeling someone there before you. But it's like empty holes in the bottom of the cup. It quickly becomes drained. And so in response, you have become masters at how to weave words to get people's attention to and take their energy to feed yourselves. And in comes the religious teachings, nuns with roller pins to beat you for your sins. Shame, shame. You should know better. But everyone is doing it. It is not a matter of being wrong with your actions. Look at the cause. How do you view connection? Gaining approval from others, hence why your attention is upon them, and not on your own frequency, because that is not connection. You go to others for your connection. We go to ourselves for connection, and through that, the universe streams through. Pulling the plug from here and plugging it in up here. And so our point is once more, you are no different than us. You are spirit, and you have the same attributes that we do. So what is the difference between us? Simply thus, how you perceive it, what you think its purpose is, and from that, everything that you object to, change the purpose. The rest will automatically go away. Because as soon as you change the purpose, what streams through? Your frequency of mind. What will it change? Your thoughts and emotions. Which is why we state again, you are not capable of this. You need your whole mind to change it in mass. Does that make clearer sense?
It does.
Intellectual.
It makes sense, because it's clarifying it, not even on an intellectual level, but just the energy of it is clarifying what I'm seeing and unable to unsee. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Good.
The long and short of it.
And so the solution, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. That statement and invitation just wasn't to our son. 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. Not an exercise, a communion. Recall when you are connected and connect again where you are. And don't worry about what, where, when, or why. Just connect and be in that moment. Invite it in. And let the experience grow. Let it nourish your chakra systems. Let it align it. What needs to be released will be released automatically without your effort, your opinion, your thoughts on it, or how you feel about it. You don't have to worry about any of that. For once, it won't be your responsibility. Let it go. That is the illusion. That which binds you. That which will be exchanged. Stop trying to fix it, manage it, plea with it, argue with it, debate it. You can't. You have already reached that conclusion. May we suggest the tool of surrender. All of that weight off of your shoulders. The only thing that you need to be worried and concerned about, not worried. The point of focus is that connection. Because as you experience it, we can't explain this to you. There's no way to intellectually give you that moment. It is an experience, and through that experience, you will understand the words we speak. But our point was to go through the ashes of what you call your mind and pick out one aspect, blow the dust off, and hand it to you and say, this has been here through all of your lives and any others you will take, no matter what. It is always functioning. It is always working. And in this, we, both you and us, have no choice. Neither do they. The need for connection will always be present because you are there. You are present. It is part of who we are. It's not a question of connection. It is a question of how you perceive its purpose. And it's not an intellectual debate that you can understand. Because there are no words. The words come after. It is an experience. And so we say we are a finger pointing to the moon that way. This is what we're pointing to. Connection. Understanding its purpose. By understanding, you don't know. You don't have a clue. And you don't need to. The moment you think you know is the moment you're already lost. The only requirement, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. And those times are dedicated to recalling that moment when you were connected and being present with it in that moment. Nothing to fix, nothing to strive for, nothing to understand. Simply experience. Allow it to deepen. Allow it to be experienced. And as you take it in, it does the rest. It does the rest. It will show you by experience what connection is. And if you continue to allow it through, you will reach the states of enlightenment as some talked about. And you will have the own personal experiences of watching the mind transform before you. And you realize there's nothing I need to do except connect. even in him doing readings, he has described them to you. Did he not?
Mm-hmm.
Is he doing anything? Or does he describe it as doing nothing but allowing it to flow through?
Yes.
And what is revealed through that action? You have watched him help people in miraculous ways, watched him say things that is beyond his wisdom, see things that he couldn't possibly have known, called out situations with detailed specifics of what occurred, and a person's there in tears. Yes, that happened. How did he know? He knew it as it came through.
Mm-hmm.
Because he understands his place in that miracle. Does that limit him? Or does he always come at the experience as more?
Expanded always afterwards. You're tired, but expanded. I'm not falling asleep or anything. I'm reliving certain, as you're talking, I'm reliving certain experiences to tap into that feeling. Because I was gonna ask, like, okay, I'm gonna call bullshit. What does it mean to surrender? What does it mean? Like, I always hear surrender, surrender, and as you were talking, I was tapping into moments where I've surrendered, and I'm like, okay, that's what it is. That's what that surrender is.
What a coincidence. We answered the question without it being asked. How mystical.
Just letting you know, I wasn't falling asleep. I just realized it looked like I was falling asleep. I'm like, no, don't get out of this reverie in it. Okay. It's interesting because the one thing that's been, and this relates, one thing that's really been standing out a lot lately since the last 2 sessions was how constantly I catch myself working on being present like it's a task. And I catch myself saying, I'm making this into a chore. This shouldn't be a chore. It should be as natural as breathing. And I catch myself going through this conversation and then relaxing and just not having to do anything. But now whenever I see that all the time of me trying to relax and release and connect and then turning it into a task list and have I done this, have I done that, have I done that. So it's interesting, I'm seeing the debate and the chatter go on as I try to connect, and I laugh at the absurdity because it's like a saying, like, I'm trying to breathe. It shouldn't be an issue, it shouldn't be something to think about.
But it is.
Uh-huh.
And an important one. We thank you for saying that and bringing that up. Let us discuss that. And so, it's something that Spirit told me I should do, so I better get it done. And of course, the mind reels in reaction. No one's going to tell me what to do. I have enough task lists to do. Another one? What's the point? And so on and so on and so on. This is not for us. This is for you. And the point of connecting is not to check it off a task list. For every person that goes into it with the discipline of learning to meditate by focusing and clearing the mind, and I will make this happen, will fail. Because already going into the energetic equation of meditation, you've already inputted
Exactly.
a miscreation. And they are a good example. They don't think about being and being connected. They are. They wouldn't have it any other way. A dog that's not connected is usually one that has been beat and is afraid. They don't have the natural grace of their race flowing through them. They are a bundle of fear. You raise your hand too fast, they squat and pee. They don't strut with pride. They timidly walk outside, looking who's out there to beat them. And so our point to you is that it's not about what you must do, it's a choice of being. And we go back to the example with our son. The ego will still be there as it is now, chattering about how to accomplish this. Oh, goody, we have a task. It's just in the future, and here's what you must do. Listen to me. I will help you.
I need to jump in. I need to interrupt. It's a choice of being.
Yes.
And and I'm pretty sure you've said this multiple times. It's a choice of being. And that's the extent of the absurdity of noticing, of observing, of really observing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's something as simple as sitting here waiting for the session to start, washing dishes, driving without the radio or audiobook or anything, and I'm sitting there and it's like I don't need to do anything, I just need to get to my destination, or I just need to wash the dishes. I can be connected right now. I can be in this state of being. What am I being right now? And then I'll sit there and just philosophize and debate over it, and then 15 minutes pass and I'm already thinking about what to cook. And it's interesting because because I'm watching my thoughts do it, and I know I'm distracting. I know as I'm planning dinner while being connected, I'm like, oh, right now I'm planning dinner and I'm not choosing to be connected right now, but hey, I guess I could choose to be connected and think about dinner, and it's this constant back and forth. So it's watching just noise as opposed to connecting, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So even doing something mundane, just knowing all I gotta do, I don't have to do anything. I just choose to be. It goes off.
Correct. And in this situation, the instructions we gave was to aid you 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. What is the purpose? The purpose is to work with the ego, to make a deal, to cut you some slack. These times, there's nothing to plan. There's nothing to do. And you'll feel it, waiting in anticipation for the 15 minutes to be up, to tell you forgot to fold the laundry. But with training, you make peace. And you have the 15 minutes in the morning and the 15 minutes at night. Therefore, it can run amok the rest of the day. Do you remember the conversations our son had with you concerning in South Dakota how he dealt with his ego.
Yes, about going into the restaurant business.
Correct. It needed chaos. It needed anticipation. It needed anxiety. And so we will not use the colorful words he used. But he said, if you're going to be here, then you're going to work blank. And so these hours are yours. I will not fight you. I will not resist. Enjoy it. Let it be chaos and let it rain. But when I clock out and go home, that's my time. I will have peace. And when we walk in the next day, all yours. And it worked. He was able to separate the two because it knew it would be fed. It knew it would have the attention. And knew it would be able to play the game that it plays so well. 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. That is your time. And it'll take a little bit of doing to convince. But again, where is the seat of power? You'd be surprised how malleable your mind is. And when you put your foot down and no longer act like a wounded bird, what control you really have. And so those times are for being. You don't have to worry about connecting while you're doing the dishes. That's why your ego interrupts you. That's my time. You're functioning. Let me help you with that. And it will. Create a space without it. Because within those two spaces is just being. So you don't have to worry about remembering it. You don't have to worry about it being a checklist. You don't have to worry about making sure you do it. And the experience you get from those two spaces will empower the observer, that which watches the ego and the divine mind, that which observes it all. Will make a choice to start extending it. And then it will come the grand choice. The noise pops up. No. No. That is illusion. This is what I am. I am. Statement of being. No, no. There's nothing that can offer me to feed me. This is what I am. Notice the difference. We are not doing a checklist. We're not doing it 16 times a day. We're not doing it every half hour on the half hour. We are choosing a state of being. And the more you choose the observer self as a statement of what is, the ego acquiesces because it is not the one in charge. It is a tool for you to function. You are the one running the house. You are the one with all the choices. You are the one acting wounded. You are not wounded. You are not. But you certainly do think and feel that way. But you won't know the truth until you experience it. You don't need to undo every single hurt, pain, and emotional body blockage. Who would want to do that? That is impossible. Because every time you fix one, 10 more pop up. You can't fix it. How could you fix illusion? How could you see clearer driving a vehicle? By painting over your windshield with new colors. See the example for the truth it is?
Mm-hmm. Comments withheld.
15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. There you gain the experience of your frequency, and through that what is. And with enough experience, the rest becomes undone. Not because the supposed higher self is going to do it for you. Free will is still in effect. You will choose to. And as we promised in the book, Finding the Inner Self, the moment you declare what you are, the universe will bend to your will and rewrite itself. And until you experience it, you won't understand. And so the foundation to answer that part, don't worry about doing it and why you should and how you should. And did you do it good enough? Did you do it enough? I'm disturbed. I should have done it here, but I didn't. Why not? All of those concerns goes to 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night, regimented, no matter what. Not because we say so, but because you want to. And because you've declared that time for yourself. The rest of the day and evening, life happens. It's okay. But you'll just begin to look forward to that 15 minutes at night. You'll begin to watch the clock and hope it moves faster, so you can get to that state of I am. You begin pulling yourself there energetically, which means what? You're extending the experience to where you are. You get to work. You begin extending the experience to where you are, until the two poles meet. Because it's a continuum that never breaks, never ends, and you'll understand the word eternity. I am, and I cannot be harmed. Now, there will be other sections like this for this particular meeting, but it'll be as different aspects come up that we pull up from the ashes. But before we end this section, you wanted to read us something. Is it still applicable, or did we already answer it?
It's not applicable. I think it will be good for like a separate session.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Then at that point, we will pause the tape and end this section. And when we come back, we will discuss fear.